Hey guys, it's Danny, and for today's Ingredient 101, I am covering kale. Now, my first memory of kale is when I used to work at Friendly's because yes, that was my very first job. And every time a plate came out of the kitchen, us servers had to put a little piece of kale on the plate as a garnish. But thankfully, kale has come a long way since then. It has been deemed a superfood, and there are many different ways to work this dark leafy green into your clean and delicious diet. Kale is a part of the brassica family, and it's related to other veggies like cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and collard greens. There's several different varieties of kale out there, but the ones that I see most often at my grocery store include green curly kale, purple curly kale, and lacinato kale, which is also known as dinosaur kale, black kale, and Italian kale. That's the one that has the skin with little bumps on it, so it kind of looks like dinosaur skin. And that variety of kale does tend to be a little bit milder and a little more tender than the others. But when all is said and done, all the varieties of kale can be interchanged in any recipe, so they are totally swappable. Now, just like plants and trees, kale gets its dark, rich green color from chlorophyll. And what chlorophyll does is it acts as a web, and it catches all of the toxins and the pollutants and it filters them out. So just like trees do that in the air in our environment, kale does that inside our body. So it's especially good for the lungs and the respiratory system. Each cup of kale has just 33 calories, 3 grams of protein, 2.5 grams of fiber, plus it's packed with vitamins A, C, and K, and it even has small doses of omega-3 fatty acids. So it's a great vegetarian option. It's a good way to work those heart-healthy fats in. Now, kale is available all year round, but technically it's a cold weather crop, which means its prime time is the winter throughout mid-spring. Now, a lot of people have this idea that kale is really bitter, but I have to say, I don't find that to be true at all. The flavor is very mild, it's clean, it's sweet, it's earthy. At best, I might call it grassy, but definitely not bitter. And it has a good hearty texture to it. When you're shopping for kale, you want to look for leaves that are bright and firm and vibrant, and you want to make sure that they're not wilting and that there's no browning spots or yellow spots. Now, while the stems are edible, they do tend to be quite a bit tougher than the leaves. So to remove the leaf from the stem, you want to hold the stem at the bottom, then find where that leaf begins and just pull up and away. This is the easiest way to stem your kale. Now, with the stems, you could chop them really fine and give them an extra 10-15 minutes of cooking time if you wanted to eat them, or you could just toss them. Once you've got your kale stemmed, you're ready to chop it up. Now, I find the easiest way to do this is to stack a few of the leaves on top of each other, roll them up just like a cigar, and then cut them into thin slices. And then if I wanted it chopped up more, I would just run my knife through it a little bit more. Now, if I was gonna use this kale in a salad, I would run it through a salad spinner, but if I was going to cook it, I wouldn't bother drying it off at all. Now, just as a side note, guys, a lot of times on the weekend when I'm doing my weekend meal prep, I will prepare my kale right up to here, so it's washed, chopped, and dried, and then I'll grab an airtight container, line the bottom of it with a paper towel, and then shove all my kale in the container, pop the lid on, and leave it in the fridge, and now I have this dark leafy green ready to go to throw into soups, salads, Sammys, eggs, etc. Makes it very easy and convenient to get your kale in. Kale loves to be paired up with garlic, onions, citrus, vinegars, olive oil. It's great in a soup, it's great in a salad, it's good so many different ways. But today I want to show you a great beginner's way to prepare your kale, and that is to make a garlicky sauteed kale. Heat up a large saute pan over a medium-high heat and add in 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Then I'm adding in 5 chopped garlic cloves. Remember, this is garlicky sauteed kale, so the more the merrier. And 1 bunch of finely chopped kale. Give it a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, mix that all around, and then I like to add a little splash of water or broth and pop on a lid. Let that cook for about 5 minutes or until you see that your kale is wilted down. Remove the lid and give it just another minute or two and your kale will be ready to go. Now, if you're brand new to eating kale and you want to cook it a little bit longer to get it to be a little softer and even more tender, just let it go for a little bit longer. And on the flip side, if you've been eating kale for a long time and you know that you like a little more bite to your kale, then you can pull it off a little bit sooner. Either way, you will have yourself a bowl of clean and delicious kale. So now I want to hear from you. Do you like to eat kale? And if you do, what are some of your favorite ways to enjoy it? Come on down into the comments below and let me know. And make sure that if you're looking for more kale recipes, that you head on over to cleananddelicious.com, because with this Kale 101, I will list some of my favorite recipes using kale. If you guys like this video, do me a favor and like it. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm Danny Spees, and I'll see you soon with some more clean and deliciousness. Cheers. Now, kale is a part of the brassica family, which, boop from the top. Now, kale is available, boop. But today I'm going to show you a great beginner's way to enjoy sauteed kale. Boop from the top. Chop up 4 to 5 garlic cloves. Oh, ready? Here we go, from the top. Kale is available all year round, but technically it's a cold weather crop. Here we go.